So, welcome to day 14. And today's mantra is beauty. I really love this quote from Buckminster Fuller. He says, "When I'm working on a problem, I never think about beauty. I only think about how to solve the problem. However, when I'm finished, if the solution is not beautiful, I know it's wrong." So, it's very interesting because, as intelligent as we are, and all of the ways that humanity has created things to make our life easier. We landed on a planet that we did not create, full of animals and plants and phenomenon and lava and volcanoes and Arctic sheets and polar bears, all these things that we did not create, we're just a part of, right? And yet, we have certain physicists who've looked into these things, and what they've discovered, a couple of things. First of all, is that when we look at something, that changes the way that thing reacts. We know this in humans. The other thing is that there's a lot of sacred geometry that goes on in nature. In other words, from nature creates a lot of beauty. And whether we want to call it divine intelligence, God, whatever it is that you want to call it, I'm not here to judge you or proselytize to you. I'm just here to say that there we didn't create our world, and there's a lot of beauty in it. And we were talking about that idea of quantum physics, that looking at something changes the behavior of how it acts. I think this is really important. I was looking at recent photos of my son, and he's now an adult. He's in his 30s, compared to pictures of him when he was 4 and 5. And what I saw is that same effervescent, slightly wild, optimistic, just enthusiasm. Now, I'm sure he doesn't feel that way every moment of the day, but that is still who he is at his core. And when he was growing up, a lot of times he would tell me, I would say, "Oh, I really love this about you," or "I really love that about you," or, "You're so great at this," or whatever. And I wasn't saying it to blow smoke up his butt. I was saying it because I was really seeing things in him that I thought were beautiful, including this kind of wild enthusiasm, which sometimes wasn't socially acceptable, right? Like, he likes to climb trees, but no, you're not supposed to climb trees on a college campus. Or, he likes to, you know, um, he was impossible to take to a restaurant when he was a toddler. He liked to throw food. So how do you find a way to find the beauty in someone while allowing them to be who they are, right? And a lot of times it's like, are we overly critical, or are we taking it for granted that the person knows what we think is beautiful about them? Are we taking it for granted that there is nothing beautiful in our life because we aren't looking closely enough? And by the way, have you spent much time in nature lately so you can see the beauty of nature? So today, beauty top of mind, beauty mantra. It doesn't mean that I want you to look at something that you don't find beautiful and say, "I see beauty there," right? We go back to that Buckminster Fuller quote. There are things that are not beautiful, including solutions that are not right, that we think are right. So rather than, just having some sort of kind of like optimistic sheen on everything, which isn't, or rose tinted glasses, which isn't real, the goal here today is to not say something's beautiful when it's not, right? Um, but to seek out beauty. And when we see it, maybe honor that, especially if we can say something to somebody. that is beautiful about them. And maybe they can take that throughout their day and look at themselves in a different way. So think beauty all day long. I s as a thing to do this week, again, remember this week last week was about getting rid of the old habits. This week is about embodying the new habits, but also going out into the world with them, right? So that's why I'm saying in this beauty mantra day, do make sure that you are saying to somebody else at least 2 or 3 times today, not the same person, the same exact thing, but just make sure you're saying it out loud to somebody else, acknowledging something that they may not see in themselves or that they may not be reminded of enough. So that's one thing. But the other thing that I would like for you to do, and again, if you don't have time today, then make time over the next few days, go and get into nature. Whatever nature is close to you, go and get into nature. Go and sit on, if you only have a park, then go and sit under a tree for an extended period of time reading a book or climbing the tree or something. Find a way. If you can go forest bathing, if you can go walk, take a long walk on a beach, um, if you can go for a long walk in a park that's more nature-like than it is concrete and um, you know sports. Try to just get into nature as best as you can for at least an hour. You will find something beautiful there, especially if you go for a walk and you do not, have your face buried in an electronic device. So they call it forest bathing. Try to forest bathe or, sunbathe. Although, of course, obviously, be careful about sunbathing too long. All right. So look for beauty, acknowledge beauty at least 3 times, and then go and find beauty in this gorgeous planet that we did not create, but get to live on and are tasked now with creating greater harmony so that we get to continue living on her. All right. Beauty, beauty, beauty. And I will see you tomorrow.